Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we jump back into WarPlan Pacific, and still liking this one, really liking it. I couldn't wait to get back and play it again, which is always a great sign, is it not? Um, but we got some housekeeping to do, which is if I ever give you any information that's not correct, or if I go back and read the rule book once again and I say, oh, you know what, I didn't have that quite right, I always want to let you know that as fast as I can. So when you play the game, you're not misinformed. We don't like misinformation here at the dojo. And so let's talk about one thing that I said last time, or I did last time, that wasn't quite right. Now this is a new game, so I'm feeling my way in the dark. Oh, there's a corner. Here we are. Okay, so last time we set up this quote unquote trade deal with Australia, between the United States and Australia. Now they call them, kind of like trade deals. What is it here? Agreement, a trade agreement. Okay, I mean, I guess it is an agreement that covers, it's kind of a big generalization. They're allies, and so the U.S. wants to pump as much stuff into Australia as it can, so the Australians can build up and hold off the Japanese long enough for the U.S. to get active, really active. So now I had maxed this out. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have production, oil, supply. You can't really send supply. This is an automatic thing that happens in the game. It's just it's done for you, okay? And it sends out supply to all the places the U.S. controls. And needs supply. So that is just done automatically. That does pull on our production and oil, but it's done first, and then we're left with what we're left with, okay? And so then you're capped at how much you can send to other countries. I believe that's at 25% of your total production or total oil that you're producing. Okay. And so you've got this kind of cap. And in the United States' case, it was 92 and 3. And we said, let's max it. Let's send it out to Australia. Okay. Then, now, what's the problem? Well, we don't have enough merchant marines to send it here. So this column, this is not a column, this row right here is how many merchant marine ships you have to ship, you know, through these agreements, ship to other countries. Well, the United States, as of right now, only has 43. That means we can only send a combined total of 43 to everyone we want to send things to. Now, in this case, we only want to send to Australia. Now, it wouldn't hurt if we kept it this high. I mean, it's not going to hurt us by any means. It would ship, what it's going to ship up to its limit, up to 43, but we may as well do it the correct way, which would be what? Now, we're going to cancel this trade. There is no penalty for doing that. Until the turn runs, you can create as many trades, cancel as many trades, go in here and mess around with it all you want. But let's get this out going to Australia, so from US to Australia. And this time we're going to do, well, we don't want 92. That's too many. I hit control. I'm sorry, I hit shift. Let's do control. So we do it by fives, and we're going to do 40 production and 3 oil. 43. All right. Now then, this says negative 95. Why is that? Well, it's telling us until we create this, that we're essentially 95 merchant marine ships short of being able to send out our maximum of production and oil. But let's go ahead and create this trade. So I'll just make sure you send it at the right place. There it is, trade created, 43. Now it tells us negative 52. The game is essentially saying you need to build 52 more merchant marine ships to ship your max of both production and oil put together. Okay, and so now we've set this up correctly. Now, if we go back to the British one that we set up, so the Brits are sending off to India, and we'll look down here. The Brits have 46 merchant marines, or merchant marine ships. they're sending 22, which is their max. You see, they can send no more out to anyone. They're sending their max to India, which is 16 and 6. And you see here, well, why is this a 0? Well, we don't need any more merchant marine ships to ship a max. We have enough to ship the max wherever we want. So this all looks good. Now, that does bring up one other thing that I wanted to discuss, though, and that is build. Okay, build. Now, we had sort of talked about this last time, but the Brits need potentially more escorts, right? So we'll go to support because they cannot escort up to a 10 level everything that they need. Or, all of their convoy routes, right? So we have the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean that are only getting 6. Now, right now, we are okay. Why is that? Well, because ultimately we're only going to be running 22 merchant marine ships. Uh, you know, through the Indian Ocean. They're not even going through the Bay of Bengal. That is just like this supply that the game is automatically sending out that is going through the Bay of Bengal. Now, that can be sunk as well. But we're not sending anything, we're sending stuff through the Indian Ocean to India. That's it that we're doing here. But the game is automatically supplying all of the British ports, and so they are using these other convoy routes to do that. So we would want to protect them if we can, So the Brits probably need to build some more escorts. Now, last time I said something that was a little incorrect, and that is I think when you build an escort, this is 10 escorts. No, it is not. Merchant marines, supply trucks, landing ships, and transports are the only thing built in tens. As you can see, I mean, it's visually represented here. I was just wrong about that. Escorts are one by one. If the Brits want to build 10 escort ships, it would cost 400 in production, not 40. Okay. So that, boy, I mean, I don't know that we're going to really build many of these. They take a long time to build, for one thing. I guess eventually we will, depending on how it goes. But right off the top, I was thinking, well, if this is 10, that might, be worth it. If this is just one and it takes 40 production and 210 build days, that doesn't seem like quite as good of a bargain, does it? 400 production for 10 escorts. Now, they do, if you get up to 10 in a convoy lane, it does fully protect that convoy lane, though. So that's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful to get up there. Right now, we don't have to completely worry about it. Because we'll get to that in a minute, but anyway, the point is we probably won't be building much of that. Now, the US though may need to build more merchant marines. That's what we're showing there is we're negative 52 merchant marine ships for the max amount we could be sending around the globe. And so this may really be something that we want to look into building. But we also want to go over here to deploy for the US. Are we already building some of these or some of them on the way? Well, we can see here transports are. We've got 10 points of transport, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 that are already in the queue. Now, I can tell you these transports, if we build them now, I think they show up, given the amount of time it takes to build them, somewhere in late March or early April, somewhere right in here. But we've already got 60 on their way, but I actually don't see any more merchant marines here. No, I don't see any. I don't see any. So I think we're going to go ahead and choose to build. Whoops, I'm on the wrong one. Let's get to the build queue. Here we go. United States. Let's go to support. Let's go to merchant marine. It's 100 production. Okay, 10 manpower. All right. 10 shipyard. Now the U.S. does have 44 shipyards in the stockpile. We'll get a lot more next time. But I do think we should purchase some merchant marines. And we'll go and look with 6 months after December. We'll go and look in June now. All right. For the U.S. at deployment. We'll go down here to June, and there you see it, Merchant Marines. It is now in our build queue, or what the game calls the deployment screen. All right, so the U.S. will be getting some more merchant marines because that amount that we could ship out is probably only going to grow and grow. We really need to get some more ships that can do that. Now, we also really need transports, right? As the U.S. We'll at the end of the turn, we're going to go back and decide exactly what the U.S. is going to build this time. As you can see, we're down to 240 in stockpile. That's okay. I mean, the U.S. cranks out a lot every turn, so we'll continue to get more and more, but we'll probably start off with support. Transports, our transports, again, 100 production. You know what? Let's just build another There we go. Let's just build another transport. Now we've got 140 stockpile, and we'll have to come back and decide how do we want to bank that and wait until next turn when we get 369 minus 77, another two whatever that is 290 or so in here. We may start building planes, we may start building more ships, or we may start building divisions, or otherwise, we'll see. But we'll be back to that at the end of the turn. Meanwhile, let's keep moving things. All right, so we moved our Dutch here. We've got our air units here kind of flying a cap. They do have a 4, which is pretty darn good at this point for air to air. So these guys, and you can see this symbol right here, and if we click on them, this symbol means they're in full support. That's what that triangle means. If we're doing other things, missions or whatnot, that'll be a different symbol there. Okay, so we've got them doing full support. We kind of already looked at everything going on here up in Malaya. There's not a whole lot we can do. We also started to move this garrison out of Medan and to come down here and try to protect Palembang best we can. You hate to see the Japanese get this much oil, but I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it. Hopefully, we get down here. Now, we don't know, here at Oosthaven or Bandar Lampung, we don't know if they're going to move north or maybe they're going to come across here. It's just, it's impossible to tell right now. These are mines, by the way. So enemy ships can't come through here right now, but we'll get into that, later. There are mines. Um, okay. I guess right now we may as well jump into China and we can back up here. Again, we see that American sub that we moved here. And I guess I really kind of want to go north to south. Now, what do we have here? We've got a reconnaissance report. I think those are Mongolian troops. Okay. We've got Soviets. Now, the Soviets are not activated. If we look at diplomacy or what they call the war panel here, you can see the Soviet Union is an ally. Its status is 10%. That means it's only 10% of the way in joining us in this war. All right. Its alliance is with the Allies, but it's not fighting the Japanese yet. It's only 10% there. Now, we could try to influence that a little bit. Or if the Japanese don't keep enough troops, I think it's maybe this garrison. Let's see. Where is this? Mission. What is this one? That is just an empty hex. What's this? Sunwoo? I can't remember. It's one of these two in this game. It's almost every game is kind of like this, right? They have to keep, like Strategic Command is like this, and other games are like this, where War in the Pacific is like this. The Japanese have to keep a certain number of troops here to keep the Soviets from wanting to jump in. But we're nowhere close to that. But the war panel does kind of show you that status. It shows you every country's morale. Morale is very important to your war effort. So, this morale and how your troops fight, whatnot. You can also declare war on somebody. So the UK could declare war on the Soviet Union. That would seem a little foolhardy. The US, China, really China, I'm sorry, the Soviet Union and China. It's really, this is a US UK based kind of game. When it comes to the Allies, you do fight with the Chinese against the Japanese, but that's really all China's up to. They're not doing a lot of foreign affairs. Neither is the Soviet Union. We'll come back to this screen when it matters. Right now, it doesn't really matter that much. Okay. The main ones are build or production, convoys, and advancements. And we will get to advancements before the end of the turn. But right now, let's really focus on what's going on in China. And as you see, to the north, we have the Red Chinese Army. Okay, and this is their headquarters, led by Chairman Mao. He was not the chairman at this point. Mao Zedong is up here in the headquarters, leading the Soviet or the Chinese Red Forces. This headquarters can only lead red forces. And you can see this little ribbon sticking out here means they are in command. Remember, the command range is 5 hexes. So this is all good. They're all good. I also want to keep logistics on and turn on supply. Now you can see the problem. They've got really low supply out here, but that also means the Japanese will have really low supply out here should they try to come this way, right? And so if they come through here, they are going to also have a supply problem. Now, the only bit of supply out here is really coming from the headquarters because within 5 hexes, a headquarters gives a hex 1 supply. So this is very mountainous terrain. It's hard to move through here, hard to get supply in here, and so it's a 1. It's a 1, right? And we may decide we really want to back up to Lanchow and get these units in better supply. But for now, we're going to kind of leave it. If we back up, well, I guess you could look at this and say, heck, I don't know. Why not back up a little bit? What else is going on? Now, Lanchow is a major supply source. You can tell it by this right here. That is, a major supply source, which is a 9. And anything connected to it by rail, if it goes to another major supply source like Cyan, these are all 9s. But then that supply starts to bleed away as you get out into the countryside. Roads can help it, but only so much, especially in mountainous terrain. Now, one problem with dropping back here for the Chinese, the Red Chinese, is we don't want these Japanese units to then come from the north and attack here, but I do think we are going to back up a little bit. I'm going to get these guys in better supply, or at least a little better supply. So we're going to start putting them in reverse and kind of backing up to Lanchow. All right. The Japanese may pursue. They're going to get worn out and be in low supply here. I hope. That's my hope, right? This unit is now nationalist Chinese. And as you can see, it doesn't. There we go. Okay. It is within 5 of this headquarters, so it is in command. All right, so it's in good command. That gives it a better effectiveness. It gives it an effectiveness bump, and it also gives it a logistics, supply bump, like by 4%, I believe, and the combat effectiveness. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it does help them always try to keep things in command, especially where it's easy here. You don't have to assign this to this headquarters. As long as it's within 5, it automatically attaches to it and gets those bonuses. But these nationalistic Chinese, this is the 9th War Area headquarters. Okay, that's great. This unit is an infantry army. So this is a full 30 in strength. All right. So we may want to split this up, but I'm telling you, be careful with that because these Chinese forces are not very strong. This is actually an assault army. So this is a full army here. 13 of 30. Man, these things got to build up. We got to get these built up uh, because they're just going to get overrun by the Japanese. But this is a lot of men, right? It's got 30 full hit points if we can get it to build back up. Now, part of that is to get it in good supply. And so I think here, let's remove the units for a moment so I can see where we are here. Gosh, it's in town. I wanted to move it. It's in Yan'an. I wanted to move it back across the river, but it's in 9 supply here. Goodness, we may give this a little priority. Speaking of which, let's go to build and go to China and see just what we've got. Now, China actually has a decent stockpile for replace. I think I'm going to bump this up all the way to 56, and let's try to build up these units we've already got. Right? I mean, it's I think it's like 60% of the cost to build, to reinforce stuff that you already have as opposed to build it. So if you had an army that was 0 of 30, but it was already built and you started to reinforce it, it's going to be cheaper than it would to build a brand new army. So okay, we've got all of this, all of the Chinese now on reinforcement and upgrade because ultimately we've got enough. Whoa, where the heck are we? Oh, I took the units. I was like, where are we? Um, Ultimately, we've got enough units out here to cover all of China, but they're all under strength. The red Chinese, 15 of 30. Now this one's not 20 of 20. It's a mountain core too. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so these guys have a special mountain. Hmm. I guess maybe they're just called the Mountain Corps. I don't see any special mountain insignia over here, and so okay, they're just called that, I guess. Too bad. I wanted to see one of those special, attributes. Now here again, this is an army. We could break that up into 3 divisions, but I think I want to keep that strong. I would love to hold Yan'an right there. Then we have this other unit that is here in Cyan. Now, the problem with both of these, right, is they're on the dang wrong side of the river. I would much rather them be behind the river, especially on a mountaintop, or rough terrain. What do they call this? Yeah, hills. And it's cold. Okay. The weather does affect things. We haven't talked much about the weather, but it does. I would much rather them be in a 9. Now it's a 9 here in an urban area. That's fine. It's connected by rail to a major supply source, but I'd like to have this be back here behind a river on a hill in a 9. Well, so if we start to get hit here, I guess dropping back here is not the worst thing. Same thing with Cyan. I'd like it to go back, but it's this rail is actually quite important. So we're going to keep both of them here. This again is 15 of 30. I feel like this is a really important place. You know, who to give who to give that priority to is a question. Maybe we won't give it to anyone. Pretty much every place on the map's important for the Chinese at this point. So, we'll see. Okay, let's go down here to First Eighth War Area headquarters. All right, this is under Xiaoleng Chu. He's not very mobile. I'll give the guy that. He's 525. Speaking of which, let's go back up here to this headquarters. I didn't look. 426 for Wei. Let's see what kind of replacements they have here. Now they only Oh, okay. So it only costs 3 points. We've only got two, but that'll build up. Next turn, we could replace, one of these guys, one of these generals out here. The guy we've got now is a 426. We have, 426, 525. They all kind of look the same. 436, this guy's a little better. Is he worth 3 command points? Well, I don't know. I don't know how important command points are yet or how important this is. We just haven't played the game enough. I think I'm going to leave Yan'an, Cyan. I'm going to leave those here. We now have another army, 20th Army Group, that is under the command of Sholing Chu. This is the first Eighth War area. Okay, so fine. We've got the 20th Army Group. That is a full army group. Now, these guys, maybe I'll split up. Maybe I'll split these guys up just to cover a little more territory up here because we have another full army and another full army. Wow. Okay. Maybe these guys I'll split up because they're already at 20 of 30 strength. These other ones are at 15, so maybe we split them up. I would hate the Japanese to jump here though. Hmm. He can come over there, but I really don't want him to. Let's split one division off. Okay. Can he? Yeah, he can get over there. Okay, so that looks good. Now we've kind of got that whole river area. Even if they come here, we've got them, in our little zone of control, I guess you'd say. Great. Okay, so now that's an infantry. They're still calling it an army. This is 18th Army Group. This is 20th Army Group. 18th just has, 15. I guess it split them right in half. And 19th now has 15. Okay, that all works. That's perfect, actually. The 27th. So now we know when these armies split, they're still called armies, and they split into 15 for strength. Fantastic. Now then, we get down here though, and we're not in the best shape here. It's a one for supply. He's getting it out of here, I think. Yep. So you see when we click on this, he's under command. It's from this commander. They got a lot of firepower here. A lot of firepower. I'm kind of tempted, not only tempted, I am going to bring this unit back. Now, is this an urban area? I don't want to give up any urban areas if I don't have to. No, it's not. Okay, but that is, got it. That's why he's there. I think what I'll do is back him up. And if they want to come into this really bad terrain, shoot, do I do it that way? Um, we just can't have a breakthrough. Chungking is too important. It's just way too important to allow him to break through here. So I think what I am going to do is let's back up there, okay? And I'm going to take this cavalry group that's behind Changsha, and I'm going to move them back a little bit. Now there's a lake right there, right? So we're okay there. I think these guys, I would like to split them in half. Maybe let's do that. I want him to keep his strength, but uh, you know, ultimately, he's going to get run over by these. You can see now, if we wanted to attack, you just hover over here, right click, that's your attack. We've got 1 to 3 odds. Not too good. I'm enough of an expert in this game to tell you that's not too good. Oh, well, maybe we bring this cavalry up there. That's 8 of 20. Yeah, because they can't jump the lake. They're gonna have to go this way. So let's go back here first and over. Okay, that looks good. So we've got a little bit of cavalry back here. Now that's not great because they're in the forest. It's a mobile unit, but we'll do that for now until we figure out what else we want to do. We may put the cavalry out here on the plains, out in these clear hexes, and move one of these armies back. That may be our ultimate goal. Okay, let's actually take supply off so we can really look at the units here. One thing I know I want to do is get the Flying Tigers out of here. So these are the Flying Tigers, Air Superiority Group. Great, great. That's all good. They're on full support now. I'm going to take them off that. I do not want them to fly. And I'm going to put them in Chungking, and I want them to build up. 7 of 20 is not going to cut it. These guys are really, really good in every game. They should be good. But I don't want them to, just get blasted out of here. Let's build them up. Well, let's get on them again. They're an 8 in air combat, 7 defense, 6 range. I mean, that's all great, right? Let's build them up and get them back to at least, like, let's say a 15. I am going to put them on priority so they get some reinforcements very quickly and build up that strength. All right, so now we're in Changsha. Changsha is probably the most important city in the game for the Chinese or in any Chinese-Japanese conflict game. It is, it's the center of the country, basically. It's also got major rail coming off of it from the south and the north. It really is the linchpin, Changsha is, of everything. It's fairly defensible. Usually, now it's in front of the river here, so that's not great, but we've got this really powerful Japanese force that's pushed through here and, at first I thought, oh man, we're in big, big trouble. And maybe we are. Maybe we are. That being said, I think we can maybe try to trap them here. Um, how would we do that? Well, we got to take our strongest army. This is a full infantry army. It's called a reserve. It's called reserve army. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Fine. If we go here, it's completely cut off. It being the Japanese unit is completely cut off now. I mean, it's out here on its own, right? It would have to fight out of here. Now we have another infantry army that's only at a 10 of 30 strength. Wow, okay. It can move here or it could move here. This army, another infantry army, really, really low. That's 8 of 30. This one is. So this one's 10 of 30. Let's move it there. So we're going to move here to keep, from being encircled ourselves. And now we've got it encircled. Now it's probably going to try to go out this way, I would think, to the weaker unit. But by doing this, I'm hoping that we take its eyes off Changsha for a minute. Now, that might not be completely true. We could also try to hit this unit um, just to get this, because I'm afraid of a double attack here where they just kind of move through here like this. But let's work with this. Let's move this unit back up here as well. We could try to attack here. This is 0 to 1. If we hold control down, we can start adding people to the attack. Um, that didn't look right, did it? Yeah, okay. If you hold shift down, it's everyone that's around it. If you hold control down when you hover, so let's do this. Let's hold control and add more people to the attack. It doesn't really get much better, right? I mean, these units are very weak. And so as at the moment, we're going to kind of hold here, but I'm also going to start bringing this unit up, and I'm going to bring the headquarters back one. Everybody's still in command, so that's perfectly fine. Sorry about that. I had to pause for a second and to get up to pause. Boy, that scrolled the screen like crazy. Okay, so anyway, here we are at this headquarters near Yuan or Wan, I guess it is. Um, this is the Chinese 4th and 5th War Area headquarters. Okay. They are under Chang, General Chang. He's a 625, so he's actually pretty good in combat. He's got no mobility, but that's, it is what it is. We're not going to be moving out here a whole lot, I don't think. Now, what I'm going to do is just drop this unit back to kind of protect him. We've got an extra unit out here. It's the Ninth Army. So we'll move this army right up here again. I mean, we've just got these massive armies that if we could ever get a chance to build them up, I mean, at least it's a lot of manpower. Let's put it that way. Um, I did want to back up here, and just kind of look at the big grand overview. You see the red Chinese up here. They're going to go to Lanchow and just kind of sit there, really. The nationalistic Chinese here, they really have to protect back here at Cyan. You can't have the Japanese get up and behind the rest of the army. So, luckily we've got, shoot, I don't know, what, 4 full armies out here. Hopefully they can do their business. You can see the headquarters, and you can see who they're commanding. Anybody that's within that 5 range. So you'll see it'll double up, right? So this headquarters, it shows, these guys are in that command range. This headquarters, now it's not going to give you double bonuses. But it's nice. It just shows that they're in command. That effectiveness bonus will occur just one time, not twice. So it's not like you can like triple stack your headquarters. So keep that in mind. We moved the Flying Tigers back. We're going to keep this big force here. Oh, this one's actually built up a little bit. Second Army Group. We're going to keep that right here in Chongqing. Chengdu, we'll keep it back here for now, especially since it's got a Third Army Group here. It's only got a 5 strength. we're going to keep it back here for now. Let it build up, and then we can bring it either over here if this side breaks, or if this side breaks, we can bring it straight down here. That all looks good. We've now moved this headquarters back, and we're going to try to isolate this Japanese unit. That should be really interesting. These guys, let's turn on supply again. And let's just see, where some of these are in supply. This is really bad supply out here, as you can see. One, two, three, four. Okay, they're all in command. This unit is on a four. I hate to give up this town. What is this? This is Chenzhou. It's only a five. It doesn't have any production in it, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. It does give you certain bonuses to be in towns defensively, though. But I think I'm going to bring this unit right up here. I think this unit, I'm going to come and guard that agriculture production. And we're just going to be kind of falling back a little bit. I don't want to fall back too much. This one I'll put right there. That's an urban area. That's also on the other side of a river here. Makes it very difficult to get through there. This unit, I think I'll back up behind that river. So we're getting very defensive here, and I realize that, but we're putting these things in better supply so they can build up. If you're looking at them up here, they don't have a lot of hit points. They need to build, and so we'll have a kind of a triple wall there, and we'll get the headquarters. I don't know, maybe up here. I think everybody's still one, two, three, four. Everybody should still be in command there. Yeah. All right. Now, oh, okay. Here's another commander out here. Excellent. Kunming, very and very important. Now, this is, part of the airlift, and I think this is the end of the Burma Road, so you got to really hold that. Let's see. What do we want to do with these units? Like here, like these guys. They're not really doing much here. We could actually kind of put pressure on the Japanese here. Heck, we could come down here and take this town if we wanted to. Zhengjing. Um, Maybe we'll do that eventually. Hmm. Now I'm curious, maybe we could, down here in the Mekong Delta, well, I guess this is the Mekong Delta, but over here by the Mekong River, we could potentially put a little bit of pressure on them because we will be looking to counterattack, where we can. Now, there's no reason to have these units up here, though. I mean, what are they up to? I mean, they're protecting nothing. So let's get them moving down here, and then we'll kind of decide what to do with them. Now, the Japanese may very well come up here from Rangoon up the Burma Road, so we would have to, reverse and get back over here. But for now, let's kind of move them about. This one I want to get in a little better supply though. 566. Okay, that all looks good. I could even hop the river. No reason to protect these areas just yet. Although maybe like right here wouldn't be the worst place to put somebody. We'll think that over later. I think we've pretty much moved all of the Chinese forces we need to move. They don't really have, they've got the one flying tigers. They have no naval units, obviously, and so really, what else are you going to move here? But let's look at their build again because I wanted to revisit this. Do they have anything in their queue? Because if so, no units to deploy. Okay, so this is perfect. We do want them to be using all of the stockpile and what they produce each time to reinforce. We just want to reinforce every single dang thing we can. They're all worn down, they're all beaten up. They don't have enough strength points. They're only at like half. And once we build up those units, then we'll start building new units, but no reason to do that now. Now, you may have noticed a lot of these are like assault, which I wish they were anti-tank. I wish they were more defensive. Oh, I was going to mention that us moving did get some of these out of their entrenchment. Level 2 is the maximum level of entrenchment, and for each turn they sit in a hex, they build a level of entrenchment, so they sit someplace for 2 hexes, 2 hexes, 2 turns, they will have entrenchment in that hex. But I think that's it. I think that's it for the Chinese. We could go look at their advancements, but we're going to do that for everybody at the end. Okay, and theirs are already set up, but we're going to, reset those out, get them back, and decide what we want to do with them. Okay, now then, so we've moved through China. We need to do Burma and India, all right, but it won't take long. We've got our U.S. sub here. I did want to point out two things. One, we didn't really look at Perth, and Perth is the only Australian city on the west that has troops. Here's at Perth. We probably should put something at Port Hedland, I think. And so, oh, and you can see the supply here. So when you have supply on, it tells you the supply level of every single hex. And so I kind of would like to get something at Port Hedland. If I was the Japanese, I would kind of eyeball that and say, hey, this is totally undefended. Now, we cannot split up this unit, so we're going to have to figure something else out to do. We do have this unit, though. This unit that I was going to bring to Darwin, maybe we take to Port Hedland. Huh, that's kind of an interesting idea. Maybe I'll do that because I'm bringing this other unit to Darwin, so that should work. I would also like to get him in at Derby, and support Headland and Derby is really where I'd like to get units in. We've got this unit at Perth, and I did want to point out that the Brits do have UK African bases down here at Pretoria, and we do have a pretty nice division here, the 11th East African Division. Unfortunately, again, no transports here. And we have Burma headquarters. You may say, that's not Burma. And you would be correct about that. So these really need to be going to Burma, but we don't have any transports to do that. So we're going to have to wait to send British forces to Burma. We have nothing at Diego Garcia. This game does not simulate Cape Town, which is fine because ultimately those UK convoys are kind of doing that. They're kind of simulating that. If we look down here at the convoy lanes, by the way, if you look at the one that goes to Perth, that is Indian Ocean. And so we've got to make sure we protect Indian Ocean here and in the future. Okay, so let's get over here to Burma and figure out what the heck we're going to do. Well, the Japanese have a massive force here, and they're going to be putting pressure on us, I have no doubt, right away. You can see Mole Mine, Rangoon. Mole Mine's a supply source, a major supply, or main supply, I guess it's called. Um, Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm wrong. That's port supply. Port supply works a little differently, but it's a 9 anyway because it's connected to Rangoon by rail. For port supply, whatever the port level is, in this case it's a 1, then it can supply up to 10 strength points. If it was a 2, it could supply up to 20 strength points each turn. Okay, so in blue is port supply. In yellow is main supply. Okay, those are main supply sources. And if we go down here somewhere that's a port supply, we'll see another blue one. Yeah, all of these are port supply. Okay, and they can supply up to strength 10 times whatever their port level is. So Monado is a port level 1 up to 10. You could have one division here, and Monado could completely supply it just from this port supply. Right. Where do we want to, or what do we want to do here? Well, I don't need forces up here, I don't believe. Okay? So I'm going to rail this south as fast and as far as I can. Um, Now, that may end up being a bit of a folly, but I really think it's the smartest thing to do is to get down here and protect Rangoon the best we can. So let's do that. Let's get into. Should I go there? Now, the Japanese have a headquarters here for some reason. Um, I'm afraid they're just going to knock this unit straight back. I would love to get this unit active, but I need to move it down here first. That's far more important. So now I've railed 2 down here to protect kind of the approach to Rangoon. I'm also going to take this unit out of Chittagong. Oh, shoot, he can't go anywhere. Not really. So let's get off of him. Let's get off of you. Let's go back here. This unit, we're going to get moving down the road here. And this one as well. We're going to come try to reinforce as much as we can. Now, these are Indian divisions. The Indian Army is in blue, okay? They're not very strong, but they're not terrible. You know, they're divisions, so they're fine. They're a 1940, well, actually, they're not bad. 1941 anti-tank divisions, okay? That's good. They're defensive, and we've got several of them. Now, this is an assault army. Again, we could change it to anti-tank, but it sets it back. You only really want to do that if you've got a lot of time to do it. 1941 anti-tank, 1941 assault. Okay, and we've got a division here at Calcutta, which is very important, obviously. It's really under strength right now, so we're going to let that build up. I maybe even put that on priority. How are these guys? They're 10 of 10, 10, 10, 5 of 10 at Rangoon. Let's put that on priority, actually. That makes more sense. This one's 3 of 10, but hopefully it'll build as we get going down here. Okay. So we've moved all those. See how easy this game is to move things around, yet there's a lot of depth to it. That's what I really like about it. Now we do have a headquarters back here, an India Command. Okay, that makes sense. What else do we have here? We've got Indian, one corps. Ooh, this is a big unit here. Right. Well, there's no reason to protect Delhi. Obviously you want some protection here at Delhi, but eventually maybe. I don't know. There's no reason. It's right out here in the center of the country. I think we should try to rail this as far down here as we can. Maybe to actually, let's put it. Now that I'm saying this, I don't want to get too wild. I don't know the game well enough. The Japanese could land up here somewhere, right? Um, hmm. I think what I'll do this turn is bring this all to Chittagong. We'll split it. All right, so that's one division. I can't go any further with that. I'll split it again. Okay, so now we've got 3 divisions. Next turn, I'll rail one of these back here to like Hyderabad or something like that. Now, we do have a division here at Madras, but, we have a division at Bombay. We have the air superiority group. Right. Yep. Let's get this over here to Rangoon as well. We have no more rail points. We can't rail this any further. So let's take this air superiority group. Let's take this down here and we're going to put that into Rangoon. That's awesome. That's great. We've got an air combat unit that can fly cap over Rangoon. That's huge. So now the cavalry's coming, boys. Okay, and then we've got this headquarters. We've got no more rail move points. Why is that? We just moved that huge army down here and it used up all of the rail points. And so this headquarters is going to be lagging a little bit, but we'll eventually, next turn, we'll take it by rail down here when our rail points move back up. We've also got the British ABDA headquarters. Okay, well, the Brits still have some rail move. Why don't we put this? Really, this should be down in by the Dutch East Indies or something. Um, where should we put this? Should we put it in Chittagong? Eventually, we can't do it this turn. Let's put it there for now. So we've got the Brit headquarters there. We've got the Indian headquarters coming. We've got Bombay. We do need a little cover. Like, what's this? This is uh, Guntur. We need to maybe get a unit in there, maybe one in Hyderabad, because we don't want the Japanese just to get a run at us, right? And so we're going to, have to move some of those around. But we're going to come down and try to protect Rangoon. Do we have anything else up here? Well, we have Lhasa, but, I don't think anybody's going to trek up the Himalayas to get to Lhasa. Afghanistan's impassable. Okay, this is the Soviet Union territory. Nothing else to move for India, I don't think. Now we're on to Ceylon. What do we have at Ceylon? Well, we've got the Colombo garrison. It's misspelled, so why don't we make that the Colombo garrison? Okay. Oh, it's actually then I misspelled it. It's an O. Colombo. There we go. Okay. So we've got a garrison there. That's perfect. Yep, it's in garrison status. I just want to make sure. So we'll leave that at garrison. Okay, there's nothing else we need to do there. It's a strong unit, 1942 anti-tank. And so it's got good artillery, guns, and firearms, 435. Then we've got a bunch of ships here. Now we know that we have the De Ruyter in here. This is actually misspelled. I know that for a fact. De Ruyter. Why? There we go. De Ruyter. There we go. We've got the De Ruyter destroyer group in here. All right, we'll eventually want that doing some anti-sub. It's grayed out. Whoops, it's grayed out because it just moved here, as did the Prince of Wales and the Repulse. I mean, these are really strong ships, but we need the Prince of Wales to build up a little bit here. It can do that in Colombo. Colombo is a level 6 port. You got to be level 5 or above to do repairs, so that all works. We've got the Hermes here. The Hermes has 6 carrier plane groups. They're at 100%. Okay, let's actually look at the Hermes. Air combat's not good. Now, the Brits did not have air-to-air, really. They don't have fighters on their carriers. They have bombers. And naval air specifically. So these are really good against surface fleets, but you kind of want them with around something that has fighters, whether they be on land or American carrier groups. Okay. Um, so we've got the Revenge BB Squad. Excellent. Warships 41 is what that's part of. Repulse's Warships 41. Prince of Wales Large Warships 41. And we can go and look at what all that means as we go into what we're going to be studying for advancement. Um, okay. So we've got the Colombo garrison. We've looked at the ships at Colombo. They're all going to sit here. We're not going to do anything with them this time. We've got the Jetna base force. All right. Again, this is a 1942 anti-tank, a nice strong group. We may eventually send them somewhere. Now they're considered Indian troops down in Ceylon. I guess politically. Whatever. We're not going to get into it. They are Indian troops for purposes of this game, and okay, so that's fine. Both of these will probably sit here for quite some time. We may eventually take them off, but maybe not. What else do we have here? The UK Cornwall. This is a cruiser group. It does have a little anti-sub, so I am going to move it out here, kind of at where all of this branches, just to do a little anti-sub stuff. Now, eventually, we'll probably have the De Ruyter come out here with its 5 and set it here on the Indian Ocean one somewhere along here, and probably the Exeter as well that has a 3 anti-sub. We'll probably move those out of port. Well, why not do the Exeter, right? Okay, let's do the Exeter and let's move it down here somewhere. How about right there? So now we're just, providing some anti-sub work here to the extent the Japanese want to get up here and mess with our escorts that are in this convoy lane. Um, I think we have now moved all of our units. Let's go through them. That is the Cornwall. That is the Colombo garrison. This is South Philippines, Canton. Okay. Madras. This is in the Philippines where we broke all of those up. Right. Okay. We've got a lot of units out there. That is for certain. Philippines division, but they're not very good. They're not very strong. We've got this sub out there. Okay, this is more things in India, Calcutta, China. We know about all of these. Let's just kind of flip through them. It's the first turn. I just don't want to mess anything up. We could turn this to garrison, but I'm not going to. It doesn't help you that much. Well, it doesn't help you at all in the long term. In the short term, it can help you. Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Like I said, first turn, he's a nervous first turn player. Let's just make sure we didn't miss a thing. I don't think we did. Very quickly. Okay, okay, all good. Yeah, and as you can see, you can come here and mess around or look at the Soviet units if you want to, and check them out. Let's check out one of their air force here. Soviet 12th Air Army, 1941, close support. It's a tactical group. Give me. So yeah, it's a tactical group. 2020. Look at this: air combat 5, 6 tactical, 5 strategic. That's a pretty nice 10 range. Okay, Soviets, looking good. Look at the Japanese home islands here. Just kind of check out things. I like what we did this turn. We're kind of retreating. I like to turtle up in China, as the kids say, turtle up. No, I don't know if kids say that or not, but I just said it. You got to be on the defense here, and you just got to hold on until the Americans and the Brits can produce enough stuff. Now, I like this. We're going to go play Fortress Rangoon. I don't feel bad about it. We are going to come here and protect Rangoon with every Indian unit we can. We cannot strip ourselves too bare back here. Um, I'll keep this in mind for when I turn around and play the Axis, is that if the Indian army comes down here too strong, you can get around behind them here. Maybe even go straight into like Calcutta or something. But it'll be nice to get this air superiority group in here, Air Combat 8, as you see, into Rangoon and get that cap up because they're going to probably bomb the crud out of that unit at Rangoon. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Let's go and look at all of our alerts and see what doesn't have a supply source. Okay, Manila, essentially we're being blockaded here. For this Let's Play tutorial, I'm not going to sit here and explain to you everything that goes into what, blockading a port is, but we're being blockaded here. That's why we don't have any supply in, and that's why they're sitting here, the Japanese are. So that's being blockaded, okay? And then a lot of these units then, probably all of them, don't have a supply source. Same with Singapore. That's why the Japanese are sitting right here, is because they are blockading Singapore. Singapore is also not getting any supply because of that special rule that we talked about at the very first episode, where they've taken Koto Baru, they've taken Bandar Lampung, and what was the other one? Gosh, I keep forgetting. There's 3 of them. I think it's maybe. mm, I don't know. I'm not going to say because I'm not exactly sure. What's the other one? Okay, it's these units out here that are on Malaya. Oh, this is partisan activity. Sorry, that's what these were. These little red men with a rifle up, that is partisan activity. So we can affect supply for the Japanese with partisan activity. I guess, technically they could do so to us as well, but it's really a weapon that happens against the Japanese. You don't really have any control over that. That reminds me, let's go to the combat log. And you can look at the current turn. So this is partisan activity, and you can read what's going on. Now, there's not a lot of description there, but you can also see convoy attack. Okay, attackers, and you can see exactly what ships are in this Japanese task force, what the defenders were. We had no escorts with this, and which this is South China Sea. Is that right? Let's go look here. Yep, this is South China Sea. And so we have no escorts, or we had none, and 2 merchant marine ships got sunk. Okay, well, that's too bad. Anyway, that's convoy attack. That's this current turn when we hit, into this turn. Now then, you can go back to last turn and you can see every combat that took place. So let's just pick this one. Okay, this happened here. You see the big red circle. Attacking units, 2-to-1 odds. The Axis was attacking under General Okamura, the First Army. Defending units times 1.74. These are the different factors that go into the battle. The 174, this was under General Yu. 34th Army Group entrenchment gave us a 1.20. Hills gave us a 1.25. City gave us a +1. Holds, okay, it tells you what happened. Attacker losses. Now, this is one thing I did want to mention. Last time I said that we were always green. You know, when we watch this and you see losses, I said we're green, the Japanese are red. That is not true. The attacker is green and the defender is red always, no matter, which sides are fighting. The attacker, they show attacker losses in green and they show defender losses in red. And as you see here, attacker losses, 1 land, and defender losses, 1 land, and we didn't move a stitch. We held. Okay, cool. Um, Ground strike. All right, so they bombed here, and you can go through here. 29th Air Brigade against the Flying Tigers. Okay, air-to-air combat. All right, defender land strike, land air strike. Nothing happened. They tried to hit this unit that we've now moved. Defender losses, nothing. Okay, same idea. You can go down here and look at all of these ground strikes they tried to do. You can look at these other land combats that happened. You see here, shatters. They shattered our unit here at Rabal. We had a plus 1.67. We had now, if you do not have a general that you've picked and is directly attached to the unit, it always says subordinate. All right. And you can see what the advantages are of being in certain types of terrain. All right. And so that is the combat log. So now we know deployment, that's your build queue. Combat log, you can go back and look at, every combat that's taken place. Reports, this was, I don't know if they do it every turn or not. They'll give you some information here, just general information. You can go look at your forces, what each side has, or each country has. Land units, air units, naval, merchant marines, and escorts. Okay. You can see casualties. All right, and these are strength points. I do believe that they're representing here. Units. You can look at every unit in the game and see what path it's following, what its experience, its effectiveness is. You can go through all of that, what type of unit it is, what its name, nationality, so on and so forth. You can look at the various headquarters here. You can look at sunk ships, and no name ships have sunk. They're not going to put merchant marines here. Game notes. Okay, this is the same idea. It's kind of like your scenario notes that you can go and look at. And so really, we've looked at every screen now. I mean, those are the screens. One or two things we haven't done. So we've done convoys. I think this is as good as we can get it for now. We could look at the Americans one more time and just make sure. Now you see when we click on Americans, we only have the one active convoy route, that's South Pacific. We've got 2 extra escort ships, but nothing to do with them. We can't put them in lanes where we do not have active convoys. Okay, so we've done everything we can here. Let's look at China. They don't have any convoy routes. They don't have any uh, escort ships, right? They don't. Basically, they're a landlocked nation at this point. The Japanese have taken every port. Uh, that's the Soviet. Why do I keep doing that? That's because China's flag is all red now. That's why I keep doing that. And the red and the blue, that doesn't look like a Russian flag. I get that, but I keep looking at that and thinking it's China. It's the Soviet Union. This doesn't matter for us unless they get into the war. China, on the other hand, has the same thing. No convoy routes. Everything I just said stands. Now China actually has a decent amount of production. They have more than I would have suspected. That's for sure. Let's go back to build. All right. The Brits, we've got reinforcement upgrade of 5. Now they've got 64 production per turn as of right now. They have a 61 stockpile. What are we going to build for the Brits? Now, we know that they have quite a few merchant marines. We looked at that. They have got 46. It's more than enough because their production's not high enough to really support more merchant marines than that. Let's go look at some of their units. They don't have, the Brits just don't have a lot of units on the map right now. They've got this headquarters. They've got this down here in Africa, the UK African bases. I guess maybe, is this run down at all? Nope, that's a 10 of 10. Of course it, whoops, I don't want to rename it. Of course it is. It's 10 of 10. Um, Really sending stuff out, and then they've got to start building their own units. We talked about maybe they want to build some escorts, but it seems a little expensive to me. We're going to run with the escorts we have. Now, the Brits do have several ships on the map, quite a few to be exact. We're going to leave that all the same for reinforcements. 61 stockpile. What in the world could we make with the 61? Well, we could make a 1939, anti-tank or assault infantry division. That doesn't seem great to me. Let's go look at their build queue. What do the Brits have on the way? They've got 2 battleships coming. Okay. They've got 4 transport groups, so 40 points of transport are on the way. That seems pretty good to me. Um, that seems okay. And as you can see, I mean, the Brits don't have a whole lot in the normal build queue. We started 1944 all the way down here. I mean, that's over 2 years away. They get some more destroyers, some more cruisers. They've got the 4 transports and they've got 2 battleship squadrons. Not good enough, Brits. So we're going to have to start building some infantry, but we don't really have enough to do it now. Now, how long will infantry take us? Okay, this will be ready. So next time, if we do a 1942 anti-tank, which is probably what I'd like to do, 78 will have enough to do that. It's going to take until, well, with next time, 14 days onto that, February 19th. And then we start getting transports in March, right? If we look at we get the first one March 21st. All right, so I think 4 transport groups is sufficient for the Brits. We're going to hold on to their points, and next time we'll build an infantry division. UK, the Empire shall start building its divisions. Now, what about the US? Well, we've got 140 left to build with. What do we need? Well, we've already built um, Merch Marines, all right? So we did a Merch Marine for 10. We also did a transport for 10. That's probably, we don't want to just do nothing but support. What else could we build here for 140? Well, I'm definitely going to want air superiority planes. The more planes we can get, the better. That's the American bread and butter, right? We got to get those planes to just eventually get complete air superiority. Unfortunately, that costs 300. So now the Americans do have 369 per turn. That's pretty strong, right? So I mean, we're going to have plenty there. Now remember, we've got a lot of divisions already sitting at the U.S., including that the large core that's a 30 strength. We can break into 3 divisions. That's sitting there. Let's just look at some prices. Ground attack, tactical. Wow, they're actually, whoa, that's for the big bombers, right? The strategic group. That costs you 520 and takes you 6 months. Wow. Okay. The interceptors also take you 6 months. So unfortunately, doesn't look like much Air Force is going to happen. I don't think we need to do any more. We've done 2 support items. Let's do something else. Navy submarine group. I think this is where I want to go. Either submarines or destroyers, but I think I really want to go for submarines to start messing with uh, the Japanese shipping. This costs 96, so it's 41. It seems like we have a lot of long range subs. That being said, they kind of need to be long range subs. As you see here, um, these will carry less supply when they start. Well, you can't see that here actually. Uh, hmm. Because it's going to show them as having the same range, right? Because the reason is because this is how far away they can attack something from. So if they're here and a surface fleet is here, it can attack there, right? So that's what range is. That isn't how far they can go. Uh, What's the difference here? They're both going to be 3 strength. Oil use 1, oil use 1. Surface attack submarine, no. It likes to dive and, get torpedoes in the water. The long range, these are kind of like the older subs a little bit in the fact they like to fight from the surface a little more. Defense 7, defense 8, okay. Operation points 2. All right, I'm going to do an attack sub. Let's do that. Let's get one in here. Let's call it the Bullhead. I'm fine with that. You could pick something else if you wanted, but the Bullhead sounds good to me. I think that's where we want to go, right? How much do destroyers? Well, destroyers cost way too much. Carriers 624, and they take a year and a half to build. Luckily, we have some in the build queue, and then patrol groups. Okay. Do they have anti-sub? Yeah, they've got anti-sub. All right. We're going to build a submarine group, I do believe, though. We could build an infantry headquarters if we really wanted to, or an infantry division. That's only 72 points. Wow, okay. But we're not getting transports for a while. So, we've got plenty of time to build that. So let's build the Bullhead. It's going to be 100 days, so just a little more than 3 months. Let's purchase that, and that will go into the build queue. And if we go and look at our deployment for the states, we look down here. There's the Bullhead, and the Bullhead will appear March 17th, 1942. Okay, I think that's about all we could do. We've got the U.S. on a high reinforcement upgrade for now. We might as well build up what we've got out here. That being said, we'll have multiple turns to do it. It's not like any of them can move. Why don't we actually go down? I'm going to go back down to 98. The reason is I do want to build those things up, but we have plenty of time, so we may as well do a little bit of both, right? We'll build a little and we'll reinforce a little, and by the time we're ready to ship things out, we should have a lot of good-looking units. I would like to start building interceptors. Now, the 1940 ones are 275. 40, this is 300. Not a big difference. We'll go for the 41, okay? Now, finally, what are we going to do? Advancements. And the Brits have 35 research centers. And what do we want them researching? How does all of this work? Well, the more of an emphasis you put on something, okay, the more likely it is when we get out here a year hence that you click over to the next year of this. All right. But there's a law of diminishing returns. Once you get above like 4 on your or investment in something, you're really not doing much. Now we can see right now for assault, the British are already at a 42, 1942. So they've already gotten a +1 for firearms by being past 41. In 42, they've got a 1 for firearms. This is in addition to the base, right? A 1, a 1 for guns, a 1 for artillery. Again, furthest away, next, close fighting. Okay? They've also got a 1 for defense. So 1942 is when you really start getting stuff, right? Now that's for assault. Anti-tank, meanwhile, they're also at a 42. So they've now got a +1, +1, +1 for each of these items and a +2 for defense. They would get a +2 for guns if we get to 1943. I feel like we should pick one of these, right? And I feel like the Brits are the more defensive of the two main allied powers. And so I'm going to do anti-tank. But before we do that, I do want to go see the units that we've already got on the board for the Brits, and there aren't many. Like I said, they're not too many at all. What are they? We got an assault. Now we've got an anti-tank headquarters, okay, but that's, ticketed for Burma. If we look at units, let's see, British, and then yeah, oh yeah, okay, we could look at it right here, right? We can see 1942 assault. Then we have. Is there a way we can go to? Oh, Can we sort? No. Oh, I see. Location, country, name, strength, reinforcement, type. Oh, okay. Let's do by type. Warships. I guess this is kind of, maybe the faster way to do it. Let's go down. Wow, look at how many army groups the Chinese have. The Brits have the 11th East African and this garrison unit. That's kind of it. They've got two assault. Let's look at anti-tank. Do they have any anti-tank? They don't. Wow, okay, so they just don't have many units at all. Really two on the map to start. These are all the anti-tank. I don't. Oh, okay. Well, nope. These are both headquarters or anti-tank headquarters. Huh. So that's it for the Brits. We might as well look at the Americans here, because we're gonna have to make these same decisions for them. What are their units already? The 40th Division is assault. Okay. 25th and 24th are anti-tank. Right, and they're ni oh, we've got one that's 1939 anti-tank. So that's going to try to catch up. The assault is a 1939. We do have in the 24th Division a 1941 anti-tank. But most of these American units are assault. Okay, so we're going to have the Americans advance or try to advance at assault, and we're going to have the Brits try to advance, and we're going to put 4 in here for anti-tank. All right, and then we'll get over here to the Americans, and we'll have the Americans do. Now you can do more. You can do up to 6. Eh, let's Let's do 5. Let's do 5. All right. There is a little bit of diminishing returns there, but I really want this to advance this year. Breakthrough or heavy armor? Well, okay. I mean, how much armor are we really going to have out here? Not a lot. Not a lot. Again, I think for the Brits, I'll do the more defensive, and I think for the Americans, I'll do the more offensive. But for armor, I'm not going to spend as much. Okay, US interceptors. This is what I really want. And if you look at interceptors, what are they good at? Airfield defense, cannons, durability, coordination attacks, anti-air guns. And if you look at air combat, if we can get to 1945 on the advancement here, you're really, really shooting some nice bullets there. Anti-air, okay, defense, blah, blah, blah. But it's really air combat. With escort fighters, it's not as much, but they give you a little more defense and anti-air, and they really crank up the range. Wow, okay. Fighter bombers, they give you a little more range. They give you tactical bombing, and they do crank up the air combat. But I really want air interceptors for the U.S. We're going to go a full 6 for that. It's only at 1941. We're going to pop that way up to a 6. I feel like for the Brits, hmm, I feel like maybe fighter bombers, and I'm just going to go for a 3 there. All right, so they can do a little bombing, they can do a little air to air. That all looks good to me. The US, really, I kind of want to do all of the air things, right? Strategic bombing, we could really push here. I'm not sure if that's what we want to do. And naval, but definitely, I definitely want to do naval as well. So the US is going to focus on air to air and bombing ships. Okay, that's going to be their main focus. Mm, and carrier operations. Let's just do the US while we're here. Let's figure out what we want to do. I do think I'll do more attack subs. Is that true though? Really, we need long range subs. I mean, that's what you need because they're so far away. We need the extra range. So let's put that on a 5. Um, Amphibious, we're going to need that eventually. Let's put that on a 3. Large warships, that's for the newer stuff. Let's put that on a 3. Anti-sub, I think we need that on a 3. Okay, strategic bombing, fighter bombers, close support. Let's put this on a 3 for strategic. We of course want that. So we're going to kind of forget about, now I just built an attack submarine though. Now we could go back and cancel that and make it a long range submarine. Let's read these again. Larger hull, endurance, payload, 50% more supply capacity. Okay. Stealth, dive speed, evasion, payload. Hmm. Hmm. Close support, fighter bombers, escort fighters. All right, we're going to do this 3 and 5. We're going to try to build a lot of subs. And so I'm going to do it this way, I guess. I'm not sure if I love it, but this is going to be my breakdown. The UK, we're going to do all defensive type stuff. Heavy armor, we'll have them do um, the escort fighters, so they have a bigger range. Let's do that at a 5. Close support, strategic bombing. We'll probably have that. They'll do a little bit of that. We do want a 5 here on naval air training. Anti-sub needs to be something, maybe a 3. Large warships, that's a Brit thing, right? We'll do a 5. I don't think for the Brits we need to worry about. Oh, did I do carrier operations? Yeah, I did. Okay, thank goodness. Carrier operations, not really. Not really amphibious, and not really subs. I think what I'll do is I'll just, if we do build a British sub fleet at all, hmm, should I do amphibious? Are we going to need amphibious? No, that's really going to be the Americans. I want naval air. I want escort fighters. Let's click back on the fighter bombers. Okay. Um, I guess we'll put 5 in here as well. We'll give them interceptors, and I don't know. I guess we'll do 1 for long range sub. If we get 1, that's great. If we don't, no big deal. Okay, I kind of like that breakdown. Soviet Union, it is what it is. I'm not going to change any of those. And then for the Chinese, they've got 8 here. I think we definitely, well, so many of their units though. It's got to all essentially be um, ground units. I mean, that's all they do. They've got ground units. So we're going to do 4 and 4 for assault and anti-tank. They don't have subs. They don't have carriers. They really don't have any aircraft to, so to speak, or armor. So that all looks good to me. Okay. Is there anything else we need to do? I don't think so. We did our build queue. We've done our convoys. We've done our advancements. War panel, nothing to do here. We'll talk about comment points at some point. We've looked at this. We've looked at the combat logs. I think that's it. And when we come back next time, what a cliffhanger. We will resolve the turn. So thank you guys so much for dropping by. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. We're playing WarPlan Pacific. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Thanks for dropping by. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.